A dog barks at its reflection. A cat ignores it completely. But a chimpanzee pauses. It stares, touches the glass, then touches its own face. That tiny moment raises one of the strangest questions in science. Do animals know they exist? Not can they think, not can they feel, but do they experience something deeper? A silent awareness behind the eyes, a sense of self. Humans spend entire lifetimes trapped inside that awareness. We think about our future, our death, our identity. We say, I. But what about the creatures around us? The crow watching from a rooftop, the octopus hiding in coral, the elephant mourning its dead. Are they simply reacting machines? Or conscious beings living private inner lives we can never fully see? And if some animals truly understand their own existence, then one terrifying possibility follows. Maybe humans are not as unique as we desperately want to believe. In 1970, psychologists invented a deceptively simple experiment called the mirror test. Here's how it worked. An animal is secretly marked with paint somewhere on its body, usually the forehead. Then it's placed in front of a mirror. Most animals fail instantly. Birds attack the reflection. Dogs search behind the glass. Cats lose interest. But a few animals do something extraordinary. Chimpanzees touch the mark on their own body. Dolphins twist and inspect themselves. Elephants use the mirror like a tool. Even magpies, a type of bird, appear to recognize their own reflection. To scientists, this became evidence of self-awareness, the ability to understand, that image is me. But the deeper researchers looked, the stranger the test became, because some incredibly intelligent animals kept failing, and some scientists began asking a dangerous question. What if the mirror test was never measuring consciousness at all? Dogs fail the mirror test almost every time, and yet, dogs can understand human emotions better than some toddlers. They recognize voices, detect fear, comfort grieving owners. Some can even memorize hundreds of words. So why can't they recognize themselves? Because humans may have misunderstood intelligence from the very beginning. Dogs don't experience the world visually like we do. Their reality is built through smell. To a dog, a mirror is almost meaningless. It contains no scent, no identity, no information. Imagine judging a human's intelligence using only echolocation. Suddenly, we would look stupid too. And dogs aren't the only contradiction. Octopuses solve puzzles with alien creativity. Ravens plan for the future. Bees communicate locations through symbolic dance. These creatures think in ways so different from us that we may not even recognize consciousness when we see it, which leads to an unsettling possibility. Maybe self-awareness doesn't look human at all. A bat experiences reality through sound. A shark senses electricity. Migrating birds can literally detect Earth's magnetic field. Every species lives inside its own version of reality, a hidden sensory universe humans can barely imagine. Scientists call this your private world of perception. Humans assume consciousness looks like language and reflection because that's how our minds work. But another creature's awareness could be built from smell, vibration, heat, or patterns we can't even perceive. Think about that for a second. An octopus has neurons spread throughout its arms, meaning each limb can make independent decisions. In some experiments, detached octopus arms still react intelligently to stimuli. It's almost as if consciousness itself can be distributed, not centered, not singular, not human. And suddenly the question becomes far more disturbing. If awareness can exist in radically different forms, then how would we ever know where consciousness truly begins or ends? For centuries, humans separated themselves from animals, using one powerful idea. We are conscious, they are not. It justified everything. Hunting, experimentation, captivity, domination. Because if animals lack self-awareness, then morally, emotionally, even spiritually, they exist beneath us. But modern neuroscience keeps eroding that wall. Researchers have discovered emotional trauma in elephants, depression-like states in dolphins, rats that refuse rewards if another rat suffers, monkeys that recognize unfairness. Some scientists now argue that consciousness isn't a magical human gift at all. It may simply emerge whenever a nervous system becomes complex enough to model itself and the world around it. And if that's true, consciousness might not be rare. It might be everywhere on a spectrum, which creates a terrifying implication humanity rarely wants to confront. If animals possess inner lives, then what exactly have we been doing to them all this time? But here's the real twist. Scientists still don't fully understand human consciousness either. You experience a constant feeling of a stable self moving through time. But neuroscience has never located a single place in the brain where this self exists. Instead, your identity may be a constructed illusion, a story, stitched together from memory, emotion, and prediction. In split-brain experiments, people with disconnected brain hemispheres sometimes behave as if two separate minds exist inside one skull. Even humans can lose their sense of self through brain damage, meditation, trauma, or psychedelics. So, before asking whether animals know they exist, we may need to ask a far stranger question. Do humans truly understand what existence even feels like? Because if the self itself is partially an illusion, then consciousness may not be something you either have or don't have. It may be something far stranger. Right now, millions of creatures are moving across Earth carrying experiences we cannot enter. A whale sings through dark oceans for reasons we still don't fully understand. A crow remembers human faces for years. An orangutan watches rain fall from inside a forest canopy. And somewhere inside those minds, something may be happening. Not human thoughts, not human language. The tragedy is that consciousness is invisible from the outside. You cannot directly prove another being is self-aware. In fact, philosophically, you can't even prove other humans are conscious. You simply infer it from behavior, which means every conscious mind on Earth may ultimately exist alone, trapped behind biology. And that finally brings us back to the original question. Maybe the answer was hidden in the question itself. How do we know animals know they exist? Humans have spent decades asking whether animals are conscious, but maybe that was never the real mystery, because every test we create is ultimately designed from a human perspective. Mirrors, language, logic, symbols. We search for ourselves inside other creatures, then act surprised when we don't find an exact reflection, but subjective experience. Awareness, presence, but consciousness may not be a single destination. It may be countless different ways of experiencing reality. A dolphin may not think like a human. An octopus may not feel identity like a human. A crow may not imagine itself the way you do. Yet, behind those alien minds, there may still exist something undeniable. A point of view, a silent experience of being alive. And maybe that's the final answer. Animals probably do know they exist, just not in the way humans expected, because the mirror we were studying this entire time was never really about them. It was about us.